Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pleasure that I ask you to join me in welcoming the amazing class of 2020 as they sing their graduation song, Where I Go by Miley Cyrus, and also present their poem titled Our Bond by Ucha Goa Desmond, one of our graduating students.
About to change, we face tomorrow as we say goodbye to yesterday. A chapter ending, but the story's only just begun. Pages turning for everyone, so we're moving on, letting go, holding on to tomorrow, and I always got the memories running from.
Just make sure you remember that those brothers and those sisters that you made back in September, no guys, no friends, family, forever. Yeah, we came into the school and got victorious. Now we're ready to play and celebrate. We're not meritorious. Class of 2020, we are glorious.
So excited, I can barely even catch my breath. We have each other to lean on for the road ahead. This happy ending is the start of all our dreams, and I know your heart is with me. So we're moving on, letting go, holding on till tomorrow. When I memories from finding out who I'm gonna be. We might be apart, but I hope you always know you'll be with me.
I saw that bring us to the end of this wonderful tale. Oh yes, it was talk about God's grace we prevailed. We loved, we cried, we made our mistakes. But now I'm feeling kinda different, I'm having a heartbreak. You see, the path we take, it really doesn't matter, cause at the end of the day, in our heart, we have each other, yes. See, we have each other.
Oh, it's time to show the world we've got something to say. A song to sing out loud will never fade away. I know I'll miss you, but we'll meet again someday. We'll never fade away. So we're moving on, letting go, holding on till tomorrow. And I always got the memories when I'm finding out who I'm gonna be. We might be apart, but I hope you always know you'll be with me forever, forever. Moving on, letting go, holding on till tomorrow. And I always got the memories when I'm finding out who I'm gonna be. We might be apart, but I hope you always know you'll be with me wherever I go. Wherever I go. The first cry of infant life.
The first crack along a cocoon.
The first earth-shaking roar that determines a cub's adulthood spring. as sure as the sun shall rise.
As sure as a luring star splattered the night sky.
So was it foretold that we'd reach this point, far from our beginnings.
How odd is it? How much has passed?
Our tiny croaks of voices, way back then, now tumbling barks.
How odd is it? The things we have been through.
Maturity as a whole, on this adventure we've embarked.
Numerous years of finding ourselves.
Our voices, our strengths.
Stretch of years of making mistakes, but of also amends.
Ample years into teenagehood.
Of changes of mind and self.
Rich years in education.
Of offense.
Alas, friends, the moment we've drooled over, the moment we have awaited.
The pat on the back in recognition.
For our hardship and our strives.
The nod in our direction in reverence to our pulling through.
The end of a long journey.
The glimmering smiles. Fiery eyes.
Our beams and grins are testaments
to the power we hold within.
Concerning all the things we've missed.
Opportunities denied.
For our bond is one that's bathed in sweat.
Laughter, love, fear.
And through the roughest paths, our bond survives.
A bond further established as we found ourselves in daring drama classes.
As we took on skins of fictional characters bold.
A link internationalized by generous French classes.
As the adventurous teachers wasted not a moment to relate tales of old.
A union dissected in the trying science classes.
The difficulties of physics.
Biology, chemistry alike.
An alliance branded problematic during history class.
Which demanded utmost focus.
Less sweetened sleep, put up a fight.
A tie capitalized by economics.
Truly one of the most grueling of tasks.
One wandering through geography.
Mechanicalized through ICT.
One that was multiplied through math.
A connection that delved through GP.
Thrived through English, literature, arts.
One that even surprisingly survived within the exam halls.
As some plan to pillage answers off the smart.
A relationship giving backbone.
Through each experience and each show.
One that in the space of numerous years did nothing but advance.
We laughed, we cried, we fought, we loved.
Against our bond, a pandemic never stood a chance.
And now we celebrate our survival.
We celebrate our lives.
We celebrate our passage into a new generation.
In this grand graduation ceremony,
we celebrate success and happiness and togetherness.
We celebrate our lives, you and me.
So ends a wonderful tale. A fortifying chapter that's been reduced to ash.
Our teachers, whose knowledge determine each move we make, all we do.
But like a phoenix, we all shall rise from ashes with new life, new strength, new wisdom.
As we tread whichever path we take from Greensprings School.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 2020 valedictorian, Boluwatife Ogumodede, for his speech.
to start by thanking God, my parents, and everyone in attendance today for being a part of this special graduation ceremony for the class of 2020. Today marks the end of our adventure in Greensprings School, the end of one of the biggest chapters in our lives. In Greensprings, we've played, we've learned, and we've had fun. We've worked hard whilst making friends, connections that will last us a lifetime. Greensprings has given us the opportunity to challenge ourselves and grow into global citizens. The opportunity to learn under excellent, caring teachers and to excel as we never thought possible. And for that, I personally am grateful. I'm honored today to be presented as valedictorian, not just because of the prestige of the title or even how fancy the name sounds, but because I can confidently say this is Greensprings' most talented and competitive set. Today is kind of odd. In fact, everything right now is odd. This pandemic situation isn't ideal, far from it. It's the fact that we've been sitting at home instead of playing with our friends or having one last party. It's quite frustrating. For some of us, it's even playing a cloud over our futures, creating uncertainty where there was assurance. I want to urge us all not to give up. Even though we've been dealt a bad hand, we must keep pushing and make the best out of any situation we find ourselves in. Whether it be resuming our next session online or not being able to go to the school we wanted to, you should not be deterred. This pandemic may affect many, but let us make sure it doesn't affect us. We are the masters of our fates, the captains of our souls. Life is about hope and faith and efforts. You can't ever be sure about anything. I have a wine blazer, but I'm here talking to you all. Leicester was 5,000 to 1. Didn't stop them from winning the Premier League. And Naruto was just a little orphan from Konoha. That didn't stop him from being the Hokage. What is my point? In this life, nothing is a given. It doesn't matter where we start from or what we start with. All that matters is how you finish. Don't ever write yourself off. I'm not going to say nothing is impossible because that really is a dead cliche. What I am going to say is that this life is a pot of beans. You keep cooking and cooking until your beans is no longer hard. You keep trying your best and you hope it will just be enough to cross that final hurdle. I'm going to be frank. Life is harder for some people. No, to be honest, for some it's not so easy to learn, it's not so easy to pay attention, or they can't go to a school with the best teachers, or they can't even afford to go to a school at all. And it's easy to give up and point to the reasons why they just couldn't. I mean, even for me, every time I hear my alarm at 6 a.m., honestly, I consider dropping out. Or when Mr. Lau decides to give us one of his quote-unquote pop quizzes that are more like exams, I think, this was not the path the Lord set for me. Like, I didn't even expect to be valedictorian. It wasn't my aim. I mean, when my mom told me, I was like, for real? But did I put in the effort? Yes, I did. And it's not just about how much you read the day before the exam when it's too late, or even how much you read weekly. It's about those little things too. If you don't understand everything the teacher has taught, there is a problem. It's your responsibility to ask questions and assimilate everything you've learned. Those little things add up to a lot. It will shock you. That's what bridges the gap between dreams and reality. I wish to end by addressing the year 10s. I want to tell you all, it's not too late. I've already said it's not about how you start, but about finishing strong. You have to go to school online and write the same exam with people who went in person, and you're expected to do as well, if not better. I've not got to the situation you all are going through. I really doubt many have. But you should not turn your circumstance into an excuse. It doesn't mean it's impossible, even though it's tough. It just means it's harder. When you get your IGCSE results, I doubt there's going to be an asterisk beside your name. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to give you extra marks because of coronavirus. Like, you have to put in that effort to bridge the gap. And you have to get used to it as well. Always remember, you were born black. It's not fair it's engraved into our DNA. It's not like there's a padlock with no key, just that the key is harder to find. And now, more than ever, you have to find that key. To those endeavoring to be valedictorian or to get prizes, which really should be all of you, you have to work towards it. Simple as that. It doesn't matter if you did well in year 10 or if you're a prefect or not. Now, all those things are in the past. Try and find a system that works for you. Since you're doing 9 subjects, your goal should be to try and find a system where you are energy and time efficient. Try and be organized with your reading as well. Also, be ready for days where there's a lot of difficult subjects. You have to be ready to push that extra mile. Also, don't try and think too much about what other people are doing. Like, all it does is demoralize you, honestly. Just do your best and hope it's enough. If you do that, no matter the outcome, you will be satisfied. And what is the point of life if not to make your dreams a reality? To eat your soft beans and think, yes, I've made it. To reflect on the past and remember that it has passed away, having no regrets. That's why we have to. No, that's why we must endeavor to never stop cooking our beans. I want to give you a big thank you for listening, and I really can't wait to see all of you again. Thank you.
Well done, Boluwatife.
Good morning, class of 2020, Greensprings School academic and non-academic staff, parents and well-wishers. I am honored to have been chosen to address you all on this occasion. When I was asked to be the guest of honor, I was very shocked. I felt it was something reserved for alumni much more accomplished than I am, at least 10 or 15 years post-graduation. But that was just the imposter syndrome speaking. As you have heard severally by now, you're a peculiar set, and regardless of how you envisioned your graduation to be like, you should be proud of your accomplishments so far. I remember in 2014 when I had my graduation. It was a Thursday morning. I had makeup done on me for the very first time. It took so long that I was running quickly. Luckily, there wasn't that much traffic. I sat there in the car thinking of how excited I was to be dressed up on my way to school to see my friends. Then it hits me. This was the last time I'd be leaving the house at that time on my way to Greensprings as a student. My 6 years there was over. I started going through everything I would miss or I wouldn't miss. Even now, I look back and I laugh sometimes. 6 years ago, I wouldn't have predicted being in front of the class of 2020, giving a keynote address in the middle of a global pandemic. But something I have learned during my time after Greensprings, my journeys, is how unpredictable life is. And that is what I would like to share with you all this morning. As of now, some of you have gotten into A-levels, IB, or university. Choices on schools and subjects had to be made. Some of you haven't made those choices yet, and I'm here to tell you that's okay. Some of you are going to take gap years to write SATs or some other exam, or your visa will take some time. You could switch to another school or to another course. Some of you might actually get started on a course and decide it's not for you. Different things could happen during your time. You could do some subjects again, courses again, or entire year again. Graduating secondary school literally means leaving that predetermined structure that your parents or your school has set for you and trusting your instincts with the help of God every step of the way. As we sit, we're all already with our plans post-pandemic, whenever that is, and that's how it will continue for the rest of our lives. It is important to be proud of where you have reached at every moment and not compare your journey with those around you. As you progress, whatever that might look like, it's important to look after your mental health. Give everything in you into everything you do. I came into medical school expecting instructions, a guide. Being one of the most traditional courses, there should be some specific path that we should all be taking. I was very wrong. I needed to learn or relearn how best to learn, how properly to plan my time, my money, trying to make the most of the resources around me while appreciating the people in my life. All of those you would learn along the way, and you would understand what I mean 6 years from now. I'm sure you have learned how after secondary school is when your preparations to make decisions becomes utilized. One thing I can advise to help in your decision is no matter what if you have decided exactly what you want out of life or what your purpose is, to take small steps. Take each day as if, using myself as an example, in a month, in a year, what would Coinsala me wish you had chosen to do? Make decisions you'll be proud of, because in the end, you alone bear the consequences, although sometimes they can extend to those around you. Be intentional as much as you can. Don't allow situations to just happen. Take charge as much as is within your control. Sometimes you will make mistakes. Anticipate them so that when they happen, you can rise from them. That's the most important part. You won't do anyone any good just staying on the ground. You are seated here today by God's grace because someone saw you as an investment. They saw Greensprings as the place to start you off on your journey. Your teachers have closely guided you throughout this phase and you have come out victorious. In your celebrations today, do remember to show them gratitude. Greensprings taught me leadership, taking control of the room, or rather brought out the leader in me. I remember one time we were out to represent the school at an event and we're split into groups. In each group, I noticed, by the way, with other schools, I noticed in each group that the person speaking was a Greensprings school student. I will never forget that day. I sat there with one of my classmates and we marveled at the confidence we all had. It was part of our blazers. This confidence is what helped me to go from events coordinator in A-levels to a lead in a musical on celebration in the US, to being president of 2 societies simultaneously and raising over 12,000 euros for charity, making me a student ambassador, all while studying medicine. The truth is, everything you want is within your reach. You just have to be patient with yourself. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Ms. Netufo. That was very inspiring. That was well done.